Dawn Renee Hanson was born on the 9th of October, 1954, to Orlin and Bernice Pearson in Minneapolis, Minnesota, at the St. Barnabas Hospital. Born 5 weeks premature and roughly 5 pounds, her mother could not hold her for 3 weeks because of the incubator she was in.
Is there a story about your birth that your family would tell? Like a funny anything, or you're just
Not
born?
funny. I was born 5 weeks early, so I was premature, which at that time was, more serious. And because I think I was just about 5 pounds, which is pretty little for them.
Oh, yeah.
And then Mom didn't get to touch me for 3 weeks because you're in this incubator that, and you have to, and now of course it's not at all like that, but she goes, yes, it was so hard because I didn't get to touch you for 3 weeks. He was a wonderful guy all the time, and he worked really hard. He was a mailman for quite a few years, and we would go for a big treat. We would go with him on his route, and Dad was with the infantry. And Dad, we just were finding out more about Dad. He really had post-traumatic stress, but they didn't know that at that time, She had 2 brothers, and so she was, she was not spoiled. She wasn't spoiled, but she, she was the queen of the house, or, because she had 2 brothers. And one of her brothers died when he was 16 it was a fire with gas, and he lived for like 6 months, and it was a bad deal. The Pearsons and the Swansons met in the hospital, and so that's how Mom and Dad, got to know each other.
She was the oldest of 4 sisters, and all were within 6 years of each other. Their names were Cindy, Sue, and Heidi, and it seemed like there was never a dull moment with them.
I don't quite remember the size of my class, but getting to school every day, we lived almost a mile, and we would walk to school, walk back for lunch. It was like 8 long blocks, and then so we'd walk like almost 4 miles a day.
Back.
And this was grade school. And once I remember I was either in kindergarten or 1st grade, and my sisters missed me, and they walked up to school. Mom couldn't find them. Like, I think it was Sue and Cindy walked up to school like with their dolly in their hand, and came, and Mom's just, and the school called home, and they're like, your sister, her Dawn's sisters are there, they just came to visit, and Mom was frantic. It was so cute. They didn't know what was wrong,
Mm-hmm. What, did you start driving in high school at all?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I didn't get a car till we just had, it was a car zoo. We had like 5 cars sometimes. It's like you have to back out and back this one in, and yeah.
After graduating high school in 1972, she took a 1-year break before going back to college. Instead, she traveled the world as a missionary with an up-and-coming organization called YWAM, which would impact her for the rest of her life.
Did you become a nurse right away out of college?
No, went to, didn't want to be a nurse when that's one thing I didn't want to be. But I went to YWAM first.
She would go on to travel to over 30 different countries in her life, most of them as a missionary. From accidentally stumbling upon a Syrian army camp when she was only 18, to being put under house arrest in Turkey, and then smuggling Bibles across the border in China, she was anything but content to sit around and do nothing. After returning home from a year of missionary work, she went to college at first the University of Minnesota, then Inger Grove Heights Community College, and finally transferred to Century College in White Bear Lake, where she graduated in 1976 with a nursing degree.
When did you start your permanent job?
Yeah, 1976. I like specializing. I don't just like working on the floor. I preferred, I didn't work on the floor a lot. I worked mostly in ICU and ER, and I just like that way better.
She has always found a way to put her nursing skills to good use. After moving out to western Minnesota with her husband Cliff, she worked at a home with children who had spinal muscular atrophy. After then, she worked with a woman who suffered from Lou Gehrig's disease until she recently passed away. Since then, she has focused her skills on a kidney dialysis unit in Canby, Minnesota, where she continues to work today. Although she dated a couple guys throughout her life and was even informally engaged to someone, Dawn did not settle for anyone other than the one she knew would be her husband, Clifford Hanson.
There was a guy that liked me in junior high school. His name was Randy Van Seth. And in 7th grade, he started liking me. And the guy liked me through high school. It was slightly sad. And he was a nice guy, but, and he would give me flowers and roses. And I mean, it's like that.
After knowing Cliff only casually from church for a couple years, they went on only 6 dates before he popped the big question, and only 6 months later, they were married on October 14th, 1978.
I worked in one of the restaurants on West Bank, honey, was it? Yep, and so I didn't know that much, but Dad would come down and you'd go to that restaurant, huh?
I did,
Yeah, he did.
Good food?
I don't remember, just a good cashier.
And then, so, now what was the question? Is that right?
Where did Dad propose?
He proposed at a Christian nightclub, Honest. I think it was called Harold's, but I'm not sure. Downtown Minneapolis. And what did you do? Did you ask me to dress up or something? And he asked me to marry him. I mean, I was just completely stunned. And I didn't say yes then. Because it was 6 weeks, I mean, and I'm like, I went home and I woke Mom up and I go, he asked me to marry him, and I'm just like.
Cliff and Dawn Hanson have had a total of 4 children. Caleb, who was a stillborn in early February 1985. Matthew, who was born February 13th, 1985, and adopted shortly after by them. Benjamin, born September 25th, 1987. And then finally Lacey Galston, born September 18th, 1990, who came into foster care with them in early 2004 and has been a part of their family ever since.
What makes you proud about your children? For Matt.
For Matt?
Matt first.
He just says things like it is, I mean, like he's very upfront and, well, with us, and I love talking. I mean, I love talking with you too, but it's really fun getting in deep conversations with Matt, just about different stuff. I'm proud of, I think he's just a fabulous artist and incredibly creative. And I just love that he likes being with us. Well, I'm proud of you for, I think, just some of the things that some of the choices you've made and what you're going to do, and it's not always the easiest, but you're, and being a soldier, I think we're proud of you for that. We're proud of you for how loving you are, and you come home and I always used to be that way. You would make things that were really boring fun just because we were together.
And Lacey.
She's come through, she's had, a really hard start. She's still wanting to follow the Lord, but she wants to stay close to us, and for what she's been through, I think she's doing okay.
Dawn Renee Hanson, daughter, sister, wife, mother, and so much more. She continues to show her caring heart for those around her and even those overseas however she can. She has truly followed Matthew 28, verses 19 and 20, when God speaks to his disciples to go out and teach his commandments. She has raised 2 boys, a daughter, and recently became a grandmother as well. Her words are always kind, and her smile is always on her face. She left me with one last word of wisdom in my interview with her, and is what she would want you to remember most of all.
Try not to feel sorry for yourself. Always realize that God's never going to bring anything in your life ever that's too hard. He's always faithful, and he's always good, all the time. Always good.